Hi everyone, in this lesson we'll be looking at painting bottles, and in particular we'll be looking at spray paint. I use spray paint because it's quite efficient for me, it's quick, I like the look that it gives after you paint it, and most importantly it's got this very smooth feel in comparison to using other paints like acrylic. Well, acrylic isn't that bad, but it takes more time to master how to paint bottles with acrylic paint to make sure that comes out in a very smooth and presentable manner. So personally, I prefer to go with spray paint. So today we'll be using some gray spray paint. I use this type of spray paint. It's called Spray Mate Fast Drying Spray Paint. The world of color magic. Yeah. So this is the spray paint that I use. You can use other brands, of course, if you like. For me, this is the one that has been working well, and it's the one that I'd recommend. It's a bit on the pricier side here in Zambia, so you can look for other brands, but just try to look for something that is quality, because some paint is the quality is quite compromised. Yeah. So as you see here in our workstation, we have a bottle. It's a green bottle that will be spraying. And then I have my mask here. So I usually wear a face mask when spraying because I don't like to get the paint into my nose. It can be quite choking sometimes. But that can be prevented by spraying outside, which is what I usually do. But for the sake of this video and for the sake of this tutorial, I'll be doing all the lessons indoors. But by all means necessary, please, if you're spraying, do it outside. I always do it outside. Yeah, and if you know it's raining, you can do it outside. Please make sure that you're in a well-ventilated room. This room is very well ventilated. Yeah, you just can see the windows there this side. So please make sure your room is well ventilated. Yeah, and then I also have some gloves here. So we can get into the spraying now. So first I'm gonna wear my mask, and then I'm going to get my gloves. Okay, so I have my gloves here, I have my mask on, and get spraying. Yeah, so what I do with regards to spraying is I start from the bottom here and then finish up on the top. Yeah, so the reason I start from the bottom is because you'd want this part to first dry and then sit this on top before you spray the rest of the bottle. So make sure to shake the spray can before you start. That's very important. Shake it. Yeah, and then you hold it at a distance. So this is the result, as you can see. Right now, we'll let it rest for a bit, for about 10 minutes, and then afterwards we're going to spray another coat. So the reason you do this is because with paint, if you spray too much at once, you'll find that it starts dripping. So you need to give it time to settle a bit before you put in another coat. It's the same as when someone is painting a house, you know, they don't just come and start, you know, put one coat and then leave it. Usually they'll put the first coat, even the second coat, sometimes even the third coat, depending on the type of paint they're using. So the same applies with the spray paint. For the bottom, I usually put 2 or 3 coats. It depends on how it will look like after putting the second coat. Yeah, so I'll just leave it to settle for a while. I'll put it at the edge here. And then we'll wait for 10 minutes and continue afterwards. So now that the 10 minutes is done, we can get the bottle and spray it again. Make sure you don't do it very close to your face. Hold it at a distance. Check again, and then spray. So you see, this is more of a consistent look that you need with the bottles. So again, we'll let it dry. This time you give it about 15 minutes. You give it more time because after this we're going to be spraying with the bottle seated on top like this. So you don't want a situation where you put the bottle and then it starts to stick on your workspace. It has to be completely dry before you can spray again. So we'll give it about 15 minutes to dry, and then we'll start working our way up. For now, we let it dry. Put it again on the table and let it rest. Yeah, so now pretty much the paint has dried and we can start working on the rest of the bottle. So we'll put it up straight like this, and then we can start to spray. So usually you can, when I'm outside, I leave it and then I just go around the whole bottle spraying. But in this case I can't stand and start going around, so I'll just use my finger to turn it. Yeah. So you shake, make sure to always shake. Yeah. Make sure to always shake. And then you start spraying. So I'm going to just use my finger to turn it around, since I'm not going to go around the whole bottle. Okay. So I'll let it settle again for about 5 minutes before I go around the second time. Shake it again. Put the next coat. Okay, this is where we started from. Yeah, so we'll put it down again and let it rest. So I usually like to go for at least 4 coats to get a nice good look. Already you can see that this is better than the first coat. Yeah, but I think to get something really nice, it's good to go for at least 4 coats. So this is the second coat. You wait, we leave it again for another 5 minutes, and then we'll spray it again. Yeah, so we can do the third coat now. Use the same method. Always remember to shake before you spray. So you notice that when you're taking it round, there's some places where it's still looking, it's not looking very smooth, where you can tell like there's not so much paint that was put, and there's some gaps. So make sure that when you're spraying, those gaps are filled. You focus more on that than the places that are already looking okay. So here, there are a bit of gaps. You can still see a bit of the green from the bottle, so I'll focus a bit more on that, just to make sure that the gaps are filled. I spend just a bit more time here to make sure that the gaps are filled. Okay. And just a little bit at the bottom as well. Yeah. So you see guys, it's looking better now. We're almost there. Yeah, so we just need one more coat just to make sure that, you know, it doesn't fade or anything, because if you're going to make something, you have to make sure that you're happy with the outcome of it. So we'll let it settle for another 5 minutes, and then we'll do the final coat and spray on top. If you've noticed, I haven't actually sprayed on the top here, but that's usually the last thing I do. And the reason for that is because once I put in my finger again and start turning it round, it's obviously going to mess up the top. So that's the last part that I do, the final part that I do, after at least the rest of the set has been sprayed nicely. So 5 more minutes guys. Okay, so 5 minutes are done, and now we can do the fourth and final coat. So just as we started before, we shake it and then take it round. You see that the final coat, you won't have to actually spray so much because it's already looking good. Yeah. And this is it. We're done with the base, we're done with the bottom. So now what is remaining is just the top. You just stick it up. Simple as that. So again, with the top usually I just do 2 coats, wait for another 5 minutes and do the final coat. All right, our 5 minutes is done, and we can do the final spraying on top. So guys, that's the last thing we have to do. Now we're just going to wait for paint to dry, and then that's it. After this, you know, you can make any design that you want. This is just the base. Some people prefer to keep the bottles like this and just put one sprayed bottle and you put flowers inside. That's fine. You can put sticks inside. That's fine. But if you're like me, I mean, you don't end here. You try to do something more with it. You can put a flower, you know, you can put some beads. It's just up to you. And make your mind go out. Yeah, but this is my basic technique on how I get my bottles sprayed. Thank you for joining me in this lesson. See you in the next lesson.